Welcome to Calabash Digger Adventures, where metal detectors get tested and adventure never stops. I compare the top detectors in real world conditions. No fluff, just hard-hitting depth, separation, and performance testing. Land hunts, relic recoveries, and full-on scuba diving treasure hunts. This channel is all about showing gear and finding history. Whether you're looking for your next detector or just love to hunt, you're in the right place. Subscribe for weekly comparison videos, field tests, and hardcore detecting adventures, whether it's on land or underwater. Let's get out there, guys, and dig deep, hunt hard, and have fun. Okay, guys, if you've clicked on this video, I'm betting that you've been bitten by the treasure bug. First of all, let me lay out what this video is about. It's an entry-level basic 101 into fundamental metal detecting terminology, basic skills, the different aspects of the hobby, what you may be interested in. Well, I'm going to show you guys what all you can do with a metal detector, the terminology, the difference between high-end metal detectors, low-end metal detectors, mid-range detectors. We're going to keep it on a basic level, so by the end of this video, you're going to have a basic understanding of metal detecting and where you might want to start if you're looking to get into the hobby. With that being said, I got into the hobby some years ago, and my wife asked me a question. Well, where are you going to metal detect? Well, I started out metal detecting in my yard, but I wished I'd have seen a video like this. Where can you metal detect? Well, check this out, guys. The beach. I live close to the beach on the eastern coast of the United States. Plenty of stuff to be found on the beach, such as gold rings, silver jewelry, gold jewelry, coins, cell phones. And actually, I found a cell phone in my last video, and it was still on, and it got returned to the owner. And that was very, very cool thing to do. So you got the beach. Well, what about the parks? Yes, you can metal detect parks, but in different areas, there's different regulations. So make sure you know what the regulations in your area are on the parks that you are going to metal detect. Parks are an interesting place. Some parks have more modern coins and jewelry. Some parks date back to the 1800s, and you can find relics and artifacts in those parks. And we'll talk about that aspect of the hobby in just a second, because that is what I specialize in, is relics and artifacts. But we've got beach hunting, we've got park hunting, we've got another aspect of the hobby which people call coin shooting, which can be done in parks, or it can be done at old home sites, as you see in the background here, old farm fields, which, you know, when you start getting into the older coins, then research will become key into finding the places to go to do the coin shooting or the relic hunting that I'm going to show you. You guys want to see some cool stuff that I've found over the years? Well, here are some pewter spoons, musket balls. And now research is key in defining this. I'm not going to sell you a pipe dream that you're just going to buy a metal detector and go out and start finding this stuff without doing any type of research. If you're looking to get into the hobby without having to put in a lot of research, then you might be looking more at beach hunting, park hunting, or coin shooting. But let me show you this side. So, I've got silver coins from coin shooting. Now, these are all older varieties. I specialize in older type of artifacts and coins. I've got Spanish coins. I've got everything in here. I've got Revolutionary War buttons, gun parts, Native American, and no, the metal detector does not pick up that, but when you're walking fields, you can see stuff. This is a Confederate belt plate, an old cane handle, and yes, these are Megalodon shark's teeth and glass and all kinds of different cool stuff from the hobby. With that being said, artifact hunting takes research, and it takes a little more time to find the locations to go to than, say, beach hunting, which is very obvious, or park, or an old house that is still standing. Now, You have to add another aspect of the hobby is permission. So you have to get permissions for the land or permissions for the yards, etc., etc., where parks and beach are more open public areas normally. But like I said, know the regulations of the beach. Like here at Myrtle Beach, you can't use a shovel. You have to use a sand scoop. No shovel. So you got to know those things so you don't get a ticket or get in trouble or anything like that. All right, guys, here's a big fat no-no. Do not dig giant craters wherever you're metal detecting and then walk off and leave them uncovered. With that being said, let's talk about metal detectors for a minute. Let's talk about the different types of metal detectors. You guys see my puppy? He's 11 months old, and he wants to be on YouTube. So with that being said, the different aspects of metal detectors. Well, you have entry-level metal detectors. This is a Nocta Profind X, and this is a Minelab Voyager, which is basically your entry-level metal detector on Amazon. It is bottom tier. It's the bottom price point, and it is also the bottom tier of performance. So not all metal detectors perform the same, and I know that when I started the hobby, I didn't really know anything except that I wanted to go metal detecting. I wish I had seen a video that would told me the different aspects of the hobby. Oh, and there is one that I forgot, and that is gold nugget shooting. If you live in a place where there's gold nuggets, you can also find those with a more higher end metal detector, but that's a different story for a different video. But know this, that when you buy an entry-level metal detector, you are going to get entry-level performance. Now, with that being said, I don't sell metal detectors. This guy right here sponsors my channel, but I don't make commissions or sales or anything like that off of metal detector sales. I test and review for all the major manufacturers in the world. I test beta versions, etc., and I provide feedback for the companies to improve their metal detectors, for the end users. I metal detect on land, and I also metal detect underwater. So I'm very well versed in all the major manufacturers in the world. If you don't hear me mention one, it's because, in my mind, they're not relevant in 2025. The three companies that are relevant, in my opinion, and are the best place to spend your money are XP, Minelab, and Nocta. Nocta has the entry level. XP does not, Minelab does. And with that being said, you can get into the hobby, at a very $150, $200, but you can also come up to this tier of metal detector, which is about a $500 to $600 price range. Nocta and Minelab have two there, and those are the highest performing metal detectors out there. Price, bang, the best bang for your buck. If you're starting out, those two metal detectors in that price range, in my mind, is the best place to get a high performance professional metal detector that is, one, simple enough for the beginner to use, and two, gives you room to grow. You get something like this is basic 101. It will find metal, but it just is what it is. It's basically the old terminology, you get what you pay for. Now, in metal detectors, there's a terminology, and you will hear this as you grow in your metal detecting or research. You will hear people say ferrous and non-ferrous. Well, what is ferrous and non-ferrous? Ferrous metal is what we call iron, nails, junk normally, except when you are artifact hunting. There are, nice artifacts that can be iron. But generally, if you're coin shooting, etc., then you don't want to be digging nails. So the more sophisticated metal detectors are able to pull out of the ferrous, out of the iron, what we call non-ferrous. Non-ferrous is gold, silver, copper, brass, etc. Pewter is able to pull those artifacts out of ferrous material. And normally when you're hunting artifacts or coin shooting, there'll be nails from old houses, etc. The beach is a little less, but you can still get nails and bottle caps and ferrousy material on the beach too. But the higher end metal detectors, or the more sophisticated metal detectors, are able to differentiate between ferrous and non-ferrous better. Even though the cheaper ones will do it, the more higher end ones will do it better. And the goal is to find the best non-ferrous, right? That's what we're looking for, the treasure. And like I said, with the exception of artifact hunting, there are some good iron artifacts. Now, these two are very high-end detectors. These are they're over that $1,200, $1,500 range. And they do everything the best. I mean, that's just the bottom line. But that is a lot of money. They're more highly sophisticated detectors. And not everybody needs that. But in my mind today, if getting in the hobby, that $500 to $600 range is giving you the best bang for your buck out there. Now, Ryan, the guy up here in the corner, he sells all brands: Nocta, MindLab, Garrett, Fisher, XP. So it doesn't matter what you want. Give this guy a call. You don't even tell him you watch this video, because I don't want you guys thinking I'm making any commission off of metal detector sales. And I'll tell you what, he does something else too that nobody in the industry does. He provides a 60-day money-back guarantee with him paying the return shipping. You buy one of these metal detectors, you don't like it, decide it's not for you, he will pay the return shipping and refund your money. Yeah, that's unheard of, right? Best dude to deal with in the metal detecting industry. And I've been around for a while, and this guy here is gem up. With that being said, now we know that not all metal detectors are created equally. Let's talk about some terminology that you may hear in the metal detecting industry or in the metal detecting community, so you can get a basic 101 understanding. Sensitivity. It's pretty well self-explanatory, right? Sensitivity. The higher the sensitivity, the higher or the more sensitive a metal detector becomes to objects in the ground. With that being said, you say, well, then why not just run sensitivity wide open on all your... Because there's a trade-off. There's a thing called electromagnetic interference. It's called EMI. And keeping it very simple, you see all these lights on in here and all these electronics. Well, they're putting off electromagnetic interference that will interfere with a metal detector. So, when you're running a metal detector, sensitivity is set to where the metal detector is stable. So, on these metal detectors, when you go out, you set the sensitivity up or down till the metal detector is stable. So that's what sensitivity is. It determines how sensitive the metal detector is. The higher the sensitivity, the deeper, etc., etc. But there's a good medium point there where you run it where the detector is what we call stable, and it's not making all kinds of noise from the EMI. I have videos on all of this stuff, and I don't want to overcomplicate this video, and I can do that very easily. I can get sidetracked. So if I do, you guys, please forgive me. There's recovery or separation. And what is separation? It is where the detector is able to pick out ferrous or non-ferrous from the ferrous, iron, and the good metals, and it's able to pick out and tell you which is which. And the low-end detectors are not as good as the mid detectors, and the high-end detectors are the best at doing this. So that is recovery or separation. So when you see separation brought up, that is what it is when a detector can take multiple targets laying out and tell you what's what, the fastest or the best. Some detectors get really confused and you don't know what's under the coil. Other detectors are better at this. We also have frequencies or simultaneous multi-frequencies. The two low-end detectors are not. That means that one aspect of the hobby that I've showed you, the beach, those detectors are really not any good at the beach. Simultaneous multi-frequency detectors are good in the wet salt sand at the beach, and that is was up until a few years ago when all the major manufacturers followed MindLab and started making simultaneous. That means they're running multiple frequencies, and we'll get into that in just a second. Very, very simple. You want to beach hunt, you need a simultaneous multi-frequency detector, whether it's a mid-tier or a high-end. Frequencies. Frequencies are what the metal detector runs on and puts out and shoots into the ground. Different frequencies do different things better. We're not going to dive into that. That'll be for a more advanced video. That's a different story for a different video on another day. But just know that when you're looking at a metal detector, and in today's market, I don't advise buying a single frequency. That is a detector that can run one frequency. I advise buying a mid-tier or a high-end tier, maybe not starting out, a mid-tier starting out, but buy a simultaneous multi-frequency detector that can run different frequencies. Different story, different video, another day, but that will allow you to grow into that metal detector. It will allow you, as you learn that metal detector, to change those frequencies to do different things and to make it set it up in a specialized way to get more out of it for whatever type of searching that you're doing. Hence silver, hence gold, different frequencies. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole in the video. I have other videos up about that. So as you progress in your learning, you will want to learn about the different frequency sets on metal detectors and what they do. So buy one that has multiple selectable frequencies and simultaneous multi-frequency. With that being said, there's different weights of metal detectors. These are all the triple score, the Mind Lab Elite, the Nocta Legend. They're all very doable. And that is one thing that has happened in the metal detecting industry over the years as metal detectors have become lighter, carbon fiber, and wireless. Yeah, they do come with wireless headphones. Really, really nice setups these days. But there is the lighter weight detector, so our hobby has gotten better. So that is one thing to consider when you're buying a metal detector, the weight. So you may want to look at that. So I'm like, anything under about 2.5 pounds and down is a good, comfortable swing. And I do want to talk about one more aspect of the hobby. And I probably gotten all messed up and lost most of you guys. If you're still watching at this point, please type 1, 2, 3 in the comment section so I'll know how many of you guys thought this video was valuable. But this is another aspect, and let me make sure that the camera is looking all the way down at the floor because I want you guys to be able to see this. When you're swinging a metal detector, and I probably should have demoed this in the yard, but I'm going to step back here. You see this coil? The optimal is to keep the coil moving, which it has to, my dog, he really loves to chase the metal detector. The coil has to be moving, back, stop. Coil has to be moving, but notice you want to keep it about a 1/2 inch, something like that, even lower when you get better. But notice that the coil needs to stay level from swing to swing. A lot of people you'll see swinging like a horseshoe. Stop. He thinks it's playtime. Swinging like a horseshoe like this, it needs to be level, the same height, and this gets you the, get down, stop, we're making a video, get down. And this gets you, so this utilizes the best coverage per swing. That swing and form is very important. It makes you more efficient. Number one, you're covering the ground on your step and you're proceeding forward with a level swing. Number two, a metal detector penetrates the ground only so far. So when you lift the coil up, it's not penetrating the ground as far. So the closer the coil, in theory, the more penetration into the ground you get and the deeper the target, or the deeper targets you will hit better than with a coil 2 foot above the ground. So if you want to be more efficient, you've got to get your form down. You don't want to be doing this. You got to figure out which hand you need to swing with. You need to then, one of the key components to figuring out your form is to figure out your length. And I normally do this. You want to be comfortable. You don't want to be hunched over. So you take the metal detector, you adjust the length to where you're comfortable. So right there, see that? I'm comfortable. I'm not leaning over. I'm not having to lean over to get it close to the ground, but you want to be comfortable. You don't want to have the metal detector too short where you got to reach out. Get it to where you're basically standing like this, and see that coil down there? I hope it's picking it up, but it's level and it's close to the ground, and I'm comfortable and I'm not overreaching. That is a very, very, very key component to making the search more enjoyable. And that is getting your detector extended at the right length and getting your form and your muscle memory to where the metal detector is, being utilized in a very efficient way. That will make the search more enjoyable. But what do you need? You need a shovel. If you're at the beach, you need a sand scoop. And what do you need? Well, this is a heavy-duty treasure pouch, and maybe you don't need quite as heavy-duty, but I hunt artifacts, and I pick up a lot of heavy stuff, and I have a big weight belt on it, and this really, really fits my need really well. But this is also another key component. This is basically a mini metal detector. And there's different brands. There's Nocta makes one, XP makes one, MindLab makes one, and you can choose which brands you want, but it basically helps you hone in on the target that you have dug with the metal detector. So that is called a pinpointer. And some of these mid-tier machines come with a package, and the pinpointers included, like the triple score. All right, guys, I hope that gives you a general understanding of where you can start out metal detecting, the different levels of metal detectors you can start out with, the form factor of metal detecting, some of the terminology of metal detectors. And this will give you a basic 101 understanding. And there are some instructional videos I need to do. And keep this in mind, it's called pinpointing with a metal detector. Basically how to dig your target. And I was going to show that in this video, but I need to get outside and show you guys. And I will do a video in the next week or so on how, when I locate a metal object in the ground, I dig it out of the ground without striking it with my shovel and damaging it. You do not want to strike your 1800s or early 1900 coins or your first silver coin with a shovel. So keep an eye out for that video in the next week. But if you made it this far, please hit 1, 2, 3. I would really enjoy knowing, if this video was beneficial to you in your beginning journey of metal detecting 101. So happy hunting. Good luck on your endeavor into a new hobby, which can be very fulfilling, relaxing, and very, very enjoyable. Great hobby. And know this, the more effort you put in it, the more you will get out of it. Thanks for watching.